a tremendous job, as always, by Peter King in his column, his must-read Monday column, Football Morning in America, from NBC Sports, back here on the Rich Eisen Show, from where he was in Kansas City, which we'll discuss in a second. Peter King, how are you, Peter?
Everything is okay, Rich. How about you?
I'm doing fine. We've got now, it seems close to 24 hours after that huge non-call. Where do things stand, do you think, on this front with the league and the officiating as we head into Super Bowl 53, Peter?
Rich, I think everything is on the table. I think, everything from Al Riveron's job to the job of the officials, the side judge and the down judge, most notably. I was told yesterday that this is a side judge call most likely, but also could have been flagged by either the down judge or the back judge. The back judge in that particular case is likely to be in center field. So he's likely not to be on that, basically that's likely not to be his job, but it could be depending on where the play takes him. And then I think as far as replay goes, Bill Belichick has said it for years. I don't mean that I have a scintilla of influence on anything, but I've written it for years. If you do not increase the number of challenges you have in a game, and you shouldn't, if you do not increase the number of challenges you have in the game, you ought to be able to challenge any call on the field at any time. You ought to be able to challenge offside. You ought to be able to challenge a false start. Replay is about getting the game right. And for everybody who says, "Oh my God, the games would be 5 hours long," no, they wouldn't. You wouldn't.
Right.
You wouldn't be able, if you used all your challenges, and with 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, that play happened and you didn't have one left. Well, tough bananas. So most coaches, I think, would end up. Most coaches, in my opinion, would end up saving a challenge for the end. So, there's all kinds of things, Rich, but I get the sense from the league last night that quite literally everything is on the table right now for the review of not only pass interference, but the review of the officiating department in general.
I think time of game, Peter, is usually a hand-wringer for just league management. I don't think an NFL fan right now is saying, boy, that NFC Championship game was a crisply played game.
I don't think they're saying it either, Rich, and that's why I don't think it's a big deal.
I think it's the same thing in baseball too. Like, it seems like right now baseball is going to institute a pitch clock rather than a change in the shift rule. And I don't think a single baseball fan's like, you know what, these games are too long, Peter. So the question is
I think so in baseball, though, Rich. I really do. I think the 4 hour and 15-minute 9-inning games are ridiculous. And every time the Red Sox and Yankees play, you get those. Now, some people don't care, but I don't know, especially the World Series games. Not that we're talking about this, but especially World Series games when they're going on till 12:20 at night on the East Coast. But anyway,
no, I'm the one who took us down that rabbit hole. But my point is that to me, I think when you are having to talk about the importance of the game and whether it was either officiated properly or played in a manner that's more entertaining, time of game shouldn't matter. So what is holding it back? Is it just the sense of trying to keep a human element in officiating, Peter?
Rich, I think, look, when things like this happen, when things like this play happen, those are the questions that everybody's asking. But the thing is, the competition committee is not going to even put anything about this on the table until they go to the scouting combine. And really, the competition committee and the league begin discussing rules like this when they all meet in Indianapolis at the scouting combine. Roger Goodell's there, Troy Vincent, all the officiating people are there, and the competition committee members meet at the scouting combine, and they start the process of what they're going to do for the new year. Until they do that, I don't know what they're going to do. And I think there has been zero momentum to get every play reviewed. The Belichick proposal, zero. And so now we have to find out if potentially, it was not a lock, but it was going to have a very good chance. If potentially, when the wrong team goes to the Super Bowl, now all of a sudden somebody's ox has been gored, and it really, really means something.
Peter King here on the Rich Eisen Show. However, I'm sure LA fans listening to us right now, or Rams people, or others who really didn't have much skin in the game might be thinking, Peter, the right team did go. Well, the one that came back from 13 points down, the one that has Aaron Donald and then Sue playing their heads off in the middle of the defense. Mike, what did you take out of that Rams victory going into Super Bowl 53 that gives you an idea that they perhaps could win this thing?
Oh, I mean, the Rams are a great team. And, first of all, I think that Jared Goff really, really proved something yesterday. Rich, a month ago, when he had his eminently forgettable performance against the Eagles at home, and as you saw after that game, Sean McVay was just absolutely. He looked quite distressed about everything on his offense, including the guy who quarterbacks it. But Jared Goff made 3 beautiful passes yesterday, dropping dimes into a bucket, like 30-yard throws. They were absolutely right on the money. And I think that is the first thing that gives you a chance, that thinks you have a chance, that in that environment, when you're not going to hear anything the whole day, to be able to play well as a quarterback when your communication is not working and all that stuff, I thought it was really an impressive comeback for Goff. And, Rich, I think one of the big early questions I would have in this matchup, Wade Phillips is going to have to figure out how to get to Tom Brady, okay? Tom Brady yesterday, in my column today, Tom Brady released the ball yesterday in an average time of 2.23 seconds. He was not sacked for the second consecutive game. Now has had like 90 pass drops this postseason. Has not been sacked. Was only pressured 6 times yesterday. And so you look at all that and you basically say, this guy is then, and that line is almost impregnable right now. What is Wade Phillips going to have up his sleeve to be able to pressure Brady?
Tom Brady is unbelievable. Peter King here on the Rich Eisen Show, and you got a chance to spend some time with him after the AFC Championship game, just one-on-one, sitting in his locker. How did you find him, Peter?
Rich, it was amazing. It was almost a peaceful island in the midst of of this ridiculous, championship game locker room mayhem storm. And he was really, really placid. I think he was almost what I would call he was a little bit. This is a weird way to look at it, but he was almost dazed by the events. Because as he said to me, he said nine Super Bowls.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. I can't even fathom this. I mean, here's a guy who's been playing football in the NFL. He's been starting football games for 18 years, and he's been to the Super Bowl 9 times. Rich, I don't care how incredibly wonderful, great everything Patrick Mahomes is, and how to me there's only one quarterback that reminds me of Mahomes now, and entering the league like this, and that's Dan Marino, in the time I've been covering the NFL. And I don't care how good a quarterback you are, to go to the Super Bowl 9 times in 18 years, I'm telling you, Tom Brady was dazed just trying to think of all of it, and he's ridiculously appreciative. You know what he told me that really struck home? And I went back and looked it up when I went back up to the press box after spending time with him. he said, the big thing here is continuity. And, he was telling me these stories about Ivan Spears, been there for every year of the Belichick era. McDaniels, Dante Scarnecchia, there for almost every year. And so, you know why that matters, Rich? Because yesterday at 11 o'clock in the morning, the Patriots offensive players reported for their last meeting before the game. And Josh McDaniels stood in front of the room and he put in 8 new plays in that day's game plan, and they ran 4 or 5 of them during the game. So this is, and you only do that when you're comfortable with the team that you have and you know that your players can digest these things. And the one other thing I would tell you, Richard, I wrote today, amazingly, the Rob Gronkowski pass, the last 3rd and 10 conversion for Brady on the overtime drive before Rex Burkhead took it the final 15 yards. Last completion. That play was not even in their game plan. McDaniels just invented it. It had been used before, but he threw it in there because he saw a coverage with Eric Berry that he said, oh, my God, we can take advantage of this. So that is what is so great about Bill Belichick staying power and continuity.
And Peter, this is the stuff that we're going to be chewing on yet again. I mean, this is the 3rd straight Super Bowl that New England has made, and you mentioned how it's now 9 times out of 18. It's the chicken or the egg conversation of who means more, Brady or Belichick to the dynasty, and maybe it's just a 50-50 split here because I don't know of another team, and every team knows it's a matchup league. Everybody does. I mean, Sean McVay has been brilliant in his first 2 years to show how it's all about matchups and scheming and making sure that you get the right situation at the right time. That it seems, though, that New England is the best at boiling down matchups year to year, week to week, snap to snap. And Brady's the one who executes it like a cyborg. And Romo was calling it out right pre-snap every single time yesterday. And they nail you almost every time. And you could take a look at the times where they don't, where it's reversed, like the Miami Miracle, where Gronk was somehow, for some reason, on the 1-yard line trying to make a tackle. It's so rare when the script gets flipped like that on them, Peter. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Rich, I was all over the Patriots this year in the wake of trading Brandon Cook and not with with another deep weapon. I thought the Patriots receiving core was not nearly good enough, and it was going to really bite them at some point. And you know what? For a good portion of the season, it did. But the Patriots benefit from a couple of things. The AFC East stinks to high heaven. And the Patriots can take advantage of that by getting so many wins. They don't have a Kansas City Chiefs and Los Angeles Chargers and until the last couple of years, Denver Broncos in their division. So, there's nobody. There's no Ravens. There's not. So the Patriots get a chance to mold their clay on their team all season, and then be in place late in the season, to be able to get their guys to play well enough together so that the fact that you don't have a big star in your receiving core doesn't end up fatally wounding you.
Ask the poll question to Peter as we go out the door. Introduce it for the first time on our show today. Chris Brockman, go for it.
All right, Peter, whose legacy changed the most on Sunday? Drew Brees, Sean Payton, Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Tony Romo.
You're going to Romo. Okay.
Well, I guess Romo. I really want to hear Romo's call of this game because everybody said it's so historic. It's ridiculously good. And I've had a bunch of people say, "Why didn't you praise Romo in your column today?" I'm at a football game. I'm not watching it on TV.
Right.
How would I know what Romo said yesterday? But anyway, I will listen to it at one point this week, and I'm sure he was wonderful. But I guess, if you give me those choices, I would say McVay, because there was this general feeling around the NFL, and I've heard this, especially from a few coaches. Hey, how's the genius doing? And there's all this, hey, boy wonder, how's he doing? Great playoff game he had against the Falcons last year. So I guess if given those choices, I would say McVay because, hey, he's in the Super Bowl 12 years after he was a wide receiver at Miami of Ohio.
Against
So
Julian.
I don't think that has happened very often in NFL history.
Against Julian Edelman, by the way, in 2007. They were on the same field, same day. Unbelievable how these things
crazy.
work. I know.
I did not know that.
October 6, 2007, Peter.
Miami of Ohio against Kent State, of course.
Correct.
That's right.
Yep. Edelman
Hey,
had.
Rich.
Yeah.
If I write that as the lead to my column this week, can I steal it without giving you any credit whatsoever?
Peter, there's statistics in a book. I heard about it and I Instagrammed it out and I tweeted it out. It's really amazing. Go for it. Take it. Go. Look,
that's great.
We all have 2 weeks to fill.
Good to dissect the games with you, Rich.
Always, Peter. Thanks for the call. You take care.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. That's Peter King. There's nobody better. That's why he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame at Peter_King. Check out his Football Morning in America piece right there.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.